Today, I'm going to give you a full step-by-step guide on how you can escape the matrix. So living life on your own terms has probably always been something that you've aspired to have. For me, financial, location and time freedom is the only acceptable way you can live, particularly in this current era we live in. I always knew from a young age that following the normal path, getting a normal 9 to 5 job, was never going to be enough for me. It was never going to cut it, and I'm sure this is something you probably can relate to too. I tried numerous different avenues. I went to college in the UK. I considered an apprenticeship. I had numerous part-time jobs. I went to uni, and that was not for me. And I even went and started a placement. I went into the real world. I experienced this for 12 weeks, and I couldn't last any longer because I hated it that much. This was a moment that I fully knew I could not live a life like this. I could not live a life that was never going to fulfill me and that was just making me completely miserable. I attempted to go back to university in my final year. However, this was not too much of a success. As you probably know, as you've been watching my channel, that I dropped out of university at the start of this year to pursue YouTube, to pursue entrepreneurship, because I knew having that safety blanket, having that comfort blanket to fall back on of a degree was not something that I wanted. I didn't want the comfort of having a degree because I knew in the part of my subconscious mind that that is an option for me if this doesn't work out, and that is a lot of people's answer as to why I should have finished my degree off. However, I didn't want that, and I tried my best to keep people happy and to tick along and finish what I started, because that is always something that I've liked to do. I like to finish what I've started, but this did not happen, and I honestly think it was one of the best decisions I've made. I've not seen the rewards of YouTube yet. I've not seen any rewards in online business at all. However, I know for my future self and what I want to accomplish in life and for my maximum fulfillment inside of myself, this was something that I needed to happen. I quit university 5 months ago and I went fully focused on YouTube, entrepreneurship. Every single day I've been working towards my goals and working towards my dream, my vision. I still have a part-time job which I work 0 hours, which suits my current lifestyle of trying to become full-time in online business and YouTube. It works out quite well. It's something I have on the side. So I'm going to kind of, in this guide, I'm going to be showing you what I believe is the best way to kind of go about going from maybe a full-time job or a part-time job, or if you're currently in education, which is even better, I think, what is the best avenues you can go down so you can escape that 9 to 5, you can escape the matrix, rat race, whatever you want to call it. So that's my story in brief. However, I want this video to teach you about how you can escape. You may think like, why should you listen to me? And I'm only a kid, I'm not very old, I'm not a proven success, I'm not big on YouTube yet, and that's a fair enough point. I've made good progress in my personal journey, and I'm still early on in my journey, and I'm very optimistic on my vision. And I believe that it's not all about success in terms of having the most money, that a lot of people would deem as being the most successful guy out there, or because you'll actually find out that a lot of these people are actually deep in the system. A lot of people's businesses are disguised as jobs, and a lot of people that have all this money are not actually free at all. And I feel escaping the matrix, escaping that 9 to 5, for me, freedom is a massive part of that. And I know there's a lot of people out there who will say like everyone can't be entrepreneurs and and all of this. You don't have to have an online business. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. However, this is always the avenue that I'd recommend that you go down, because you've got to, at the end of the day, you're still going to need money. And unless you like inherited a lot of money, you're famous in some way or naturally talented, then I think there's not many other kind of avenues you can go down to finding a way of source of income. So I'm going to go straight on to stage 1 now. And what I want you to do in stage 1 is stack your income and limit your outgoings. Of course, I don't know exactly how old you are watching this video. However, my first piece of advice if you've not already made this mistake, I believe, in life, is to not go to university. Honestly, that was the worst decision I ever made, and financially it will end up screwing you over. It's a debt around your neck that you will have over you for the rest of your life. And I feel like I just wasted over 3 years of my life on a degree that was never going to take me where I wanted to be. And that's what I see as my worst decision in my life so far. And I always encourage people, if they're young and coming out of education or considering university, to maybe just take a step back and really think, do I want to do this? Do I need to do this? Because if you don't need it, then why go? Because you're going to waste time. You're going to waste a lot of money. You're going to probably get into that degenerate lifestyle, which I speak about a lot, which is not going to be good for you, especially your future self, and especially if you're on self-improvement in particular. So there's not really any benefit to going to university. Obviously, yes, if you want maybe to become a doctor or work with medicine, then yes, probably a degree will be suitable for you. But you have to think, do I need this degree? Is it going to take me to where I want to be? Because if it's not, then just don't do it. It's just not worth it. So I don't know exactly how old you are, but I feel I wasted a lot of time until I was 21. And it was only when I hit 21 where I kind of realised that where I want to be in life and what are the necessary steps that I need to take to get there. Because there's been a lot, and a lot has happened over the last year and a half in my personal life. Obviously, it's great if you already have a plan, but I'm not going to focus too much on you creating a plan in stage one, because I don't think that's the most important thing. Obviously, overall, it is, because you need that kind of exit strategy to get out of this matrix world we live in. But I don't expect you to just have a plan ready-made. And I'm going to give you some kind of suggestions and maybe how you can go about finding a plan, your purpose, etc. I recommend in stage one about stacking income. So I recommend that you find a part-time job that you don't hate. I think that's very important, because a lot of people will go and do jobs and stack a load of money up, but they hate the job they're doing. And for me, it's not worth it, because the stress it will cause you, and you'll just be unhappy and unfulfilled. And for me, I know how that felt when I was doing that placement over the summer, and it was one of the worst feelings I ever had. That's why I had to quit. I could have easily just stacked up the money and tried to put up with it, and maybe that's something you're okay with doing. However, I personally don't believe that is the right way to go about things, but I completely understand why you might do that. You could, like I say, go into the full-time corporate world. Obviously, this kind of does depend on your age and experience, and you might need a degree, probably do, to kind of go into that type of industry. And you might earn, say, 40k a year, and you're still in your 20s or something, which is a very, very good amount of money. And you might think, oh, well, I'll do this for a few years and then I'll go full-time on my business and I'll have a lot of money. I won't spend too much. I'll stack the money up, like you say, and I'll kind of like limit my outgoings. I won't spend much on like rubbish. I won't go out partying, alcohol, all of this, and then you'll have money. And you could do that. That is a very viable option, and I definitely see the logic and why a lot of people would want to do that. If you can find a full-time job like that pays a lot of money and is very enjoyable and fulfilling for you, then I highly, highly recommend doing that. But I think that's very rare, and I don't think a lot of people have that, where they have a job that they really enjoy and then their focus is to go on to business after a few years, and they don't get caught up in all those distractions as well, like trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to go out partying, and they see their friends, maybe they have cars and they're getting a mortgage and all of this. Like, you can't do it all. You don't want a job that's going to just stress you out, and I just don't think that's the best solution to go down. But if it can work for you, then do it. But for most people, and for me personally, like, it just wasn't the case. And I was earning like a good amount. I could have stuck the year out and earning 23k a year at 21 years old for a placement. That is extremely good. It's not even in London, in the town I live, like Leicestershire, which is just average kind of salary, is for in the UK, I think it's something like 25 to 30,000 or something. Someone might correct me on that, but I'm not too sure. It's around that figure anyway. And I was 21, And a placement as well, it's not even like a full-time job type of thing, because you're still technically in education, so the rates are always lowered for placements anyway. And I could have easily just stuck that year out and carried on with this YouTube and entrepreneurship, because the job really was not that hard for me at all. I didn't even actually have to do that much work. Half the time I would just go to the gym anyway and be kind of doing what I wanted to do, because it wasn't really that serious. But just because of how it made me feel, I felt I couldn't continue doing that, waking up every day just dreading it, and it just wasn't for me. Like, I could have saved maybe 10k of that money easily after tax, and then say, I'm living at home anyway, so I don't really have a lot of expenditures anyway, and that could have been a good like 10k. And after that year, I could have gone like full-time on YouTube, full-time on entrepreneurship, and that is like a reasonable way I could have gone about things. But I didn't do that because of the fulfillment. I didn't get. I always think fulfillment should come first, and if you don't get that, it's not worth it. But you might see things different. So I recommend that you find a way to stack your income, but like I said, don't do something that is just going to make you unhappy, and definitely don't do anything that's unethical. And by that I mean sell drugs or scam people, anything along those lines that's dirty money. Don't stay away from that, because you never know, especially if you do something like YouTube or entrepreneurship. Your reputation is something that you can't really get back, and once it's tarnished, then that's kind of with you for life. Some other stuff you could do is side hustles, such as maybe flipping clothes on eBay or Gumtree or something like that. It's something I've kind of done as a side hustle personally myself. I've made like over 1,500 from just selling stuff that I didn't really want, because I used to be quite into designer clothes and all of that rubbish, and it was a good way for me to make money, and it was quite easy. It's quite something you can leverage off. It doesn't take a lot of your time out your day. And when you think about that, if you've got a part-time job and you've got a side hustle, flipping clothes or whatever it may be, then, and maybe you've started on your business or something, and you're making a few £100s or something a month. If you had your part-time job, your side hustle, and maybe a bit of income from your online business or whatever it may be, you're probably going to be earning easy over a K, 2k plus, which is not really that far off an average salary in the UK anyway. So that's quite important to bear in mind. And you've probably spent way less time and way less energy, and you're not doing something that makes you feel unfulfilled and unhappy and stressing you out and wasting a lot of your mental energy, which is so crucial to getting things done. Next, I want to talk about cutting down your expenses. I don't like the idea of living like a frugal kind of lifestyle and penny pinching at any opportunity. Don't buy that coffee because of it's £5 and all of this, because I don't think that's a way to live. It's not a very pleasant way to live. I've thought of doing it at some points, and whenever I'm being like stingy and not doing stuff just because it's a bit expensive, it's not made me feel very good, and I don't think that's a very nice way to live at all, and I don't think you need to do that. But I don't mean that anyway. I mean, just stop doing all the kind of normal person stuff that you might see all your friends doing. You might see them going out partying, they're drinking alcohol, they've got a financed car, maybe they're thinking about getting a mortgage, they might be thinking about settling down, getting a house, car, countless subscriptions, designer clothes, all of this type of stuff, trying to flex on other people. It starts to add up over a month. You might be talking a few £1,000s just on this. And a lot of people don't really think that a person earning maybe 2, 3, 4k a month, and they've got outgoings which is like 95% of their income, then they're a lot worse off than the guy who's earning a k a month but his outgoings are like £300 a month. That's something you should definitely bear in mind when you see these people trying to flex on you, and they're the same age, and you think they're living the life, but you've always got to think like long term. They're getting that instant gratification now, and you're delaying that gratification. You're building your business, you're building yourself. So that is the main stage one, is just stacking as much income you can whilst doing something that offers you some type of fulfillment. It isn't something you hate, and you're probably hopefully working on yourself. You've got that time to work on yourself as well. You're not spending a lot of money on going out and doing the normal people stuff because you've got more important things down the line. Your life will be a lot better than these people who are cashing in their chips, buying these stuff that's not even going to make them happy anyway. And for me, when I say sacrifice these type of things, to be honest, me personally, I don't feel like I'm sacrificing it. I don't feel like I'm missing out, not going out partying in my same shit town that everyone else does. I know designer clothes, it's not going to make me happy. I don't care about having a fancy watch or having a fancy finance car. For me, that's never going to make me happy, and I know that. So on to stage 2, I want you to create a plan and consistently work on this day in, day out. I said at the start of this video that you don't need to become an entrepreneur, and it's not necessary to escape the matrix. And I do honestly believe you can do it without having a business or being an entrepreneur or anything like that. However, you need, like I say, you need a way to have an income without having to work that job. And there's not like a million different options really once you take away the normal job of gaining income consistently, unless you're highly talented or you maybe have some type of fame or clout already existing. But I doubt you probably have that at this moment in time if you're kind of watching this video. If you could do whatever you wanted and not have to worry about money, then what would you do? That is my main advice to you if you are creating a plan and you don't really know where to start. Because don't just say you wouldn't do anything and you just want to lay on a beach and do nothing, because you wouldn't. Trust me, you would get very bored very quickly. And maybe you do this for a few weeks and you wouldn't like it. And people say, oh, I want to retire by 30 and 40 and all of this. But it's not going to happen. If you could, obviously, yes, feasibly, you could do this and have the money, but you're not going to want to do that when you're 30. What are you going to do? Sit on a beach for like the rest of your existence? You could be alive till you're 90 plus years old. You're going to have 60 years. Like, you're just not going to want to do it. You're going to move on to another stage of your life, whatever it may be. And like, you're just going to get, I really think that's such a stupid attitude to have. And I know, like I've said, once I've fulfilled this layer of my chapter and purpose, and I will move on to something else, because I've had days when I feel like I've not really done a lot at all, and they're some of my worst days. I just feel when I'm unproductive and not doing work, and I'm sure you can relate to this, you just feel like, what was the point? I'm just wasting time. Like, I'm wasting my existence, and your existence is pretty meaningless, isn't it? If you're 30 years old, you've got a few million in the bank, and yes, you don't have to work another day in your life, but what is the point? There's going to be something else that you'll want to do after this. So think about what would you do if you could do anything you wanted. You didn't have to worry about money. It wasn't an issue at all. Then monetize it. Think of a way you can monetize it through the internet. Anything these days you can monetize. I can't even think what you could do. Something as simple as fishing. You could find a way to monetize, or climbing hills or mountains. You could find a way. I think the best way to do it is learn something, learn a skill, whatever it may be, then go on to teach it. That is the best model you can follow. Help people with what you've learned from your personal experiences and knowledge, because that can, if you just think, a lot of my ideas, they come from videos, they come from stuff that I've had to experience in my life, and think, okay, I'm sure someone else has experienced similar type of thing to me, so I'm going to kind of teach them how I solve this too. And there's like a lot of ways you could go about this through, I don't know, courses, YouTube videos, podcasts, an online school, anything like that. A simple model that I follow, that I've been following recently, is learn, implement, teach, and monetize. So you learn something either from your personal experience or reading or podcasts or ebooks, anything like that, and then you implement it into your life. So hopefully it works, success, and then you can kind of teach people, okay, so this is what I did, this worked for me, and this didn't really work for me, and if I was to start again, I'll do it this way or do it that way. and then find a way to monetize that, and then you keep doing that. People are going to want to pay you if you've experienced a lot anyway. And there's I think that's a new kind of way of education going forward, and I think we're going to see a lot more of it, online education being that way. So what do you enjoy learning about, or already have an existing knowledge towards, which you then implement into your life and improve your life, which you could then go on to teach others, monetize it, whatever your plan is. I'm not going to go too much detail as to what your plan should be, because I can make a different video on that, and there's a lot of avenues you can go down. But I think learn, implement, and teach and monetize is a good kind of structure for you to follow in order to create an online business and kind of escape the rat race. I think that's the best model you can follow. You can the next thing I want you to do is set an exit figure that you need before you can leave your part-time, full-time job. So you could create like a massive Excel spreadsheet type of thing if that's your type of thing, but for me it's not. And work out all your projected incomes and outgoings, which I'm sure will be really detailed. It might give you a more specific answer of what you actually need. However, I said to myself, hit a figure of around 5k in the bank and begin to earn online income, and then I feel comfortable with going online full time. I think that is a decent figure that I can work towards and achievable. It's not really hard to earn 5k. Even with like a part-time job, like I said, side hustle, and maybe you're earning a bit from your online business, you can earn 2k a month quite easily. So say following that, maybe around 2-3 months time, then I'll be able to go full-time. I understand that other people may have a lot more liabilities than me. If you're a bit older, you might have already moved out, or maybe you have a lot more. You might have a car on finance, for example, or you owe people money or something like that. So you want to clear off your debt anyway before anything else. However, if you don't, I think you should, like I said, cut down subscriptions as much as you possibly can. What do you actually really need? For me, I worked out I have a car, so I need fuel for my car. I have food, which I need food and a gym membership. But other than that, there's not really anything I actually need. There's obviously stuff you could say, like clothes and stuff like that, and travel and trips. And if you want to do any, like go out for a meal, but you don't actually need them. They're kind of luxuries and stuff you could do. And if you wanted to go 100% and make your business excel and get there as soon as you possibly want to, then you probably would be willing to sacrifice this, and that's probably what I would recommend doing. So I worked out on a normal month, I can feasibly live on around £250 if I wasn't really travelling anywhere. I do travel a lot personally, but if I don't need to travel and I'm just at home, I'm not really doing anything special, £250 a month is probably going to be okay. Fuel, food, gym membership is all I kind of need, really. And so I did a simple equation, my target figure of £5,000, and I divided that by 250, so £250 a month, and that works out at 20. So 20 months, I would be completely fine. Obviously, yes, there's a lot of unknown expenditure which could occur, such as health, and if my car broke down or whatever it may be. And obviously, I travel a lot too, so that would probably come into place. But just say a year to year and a half, take out what the unknown, because obviously, yes, stuff comes up that you don't know and can't predict. It's always good to kind of have a safety net which you can fall back on in case any health concerns, which obviously you can't. That's the most important thing, and you just don't know when that's gonna come. But I felt that's a good figure to kind of work that out, and I think you should definitely work out what it is for you. It might be a bit more for you, maybe it's a bit less that you're prepared to get to before you want to go full time. So that's why it worked out, and that's like realistically a year and a half full time on a business, you're gonna start earning money if you're dedicated to it. So I highly recommend that you work out how much you need to leave your full-time current job, whatever it may be, and go full-time on your dream online business, whatever it may be. Because I think if you have that figure in your head, maybe you write it down, or I like to write stuff down and put it on my wall. Maybe you do too. And I think kind of having that figure that you can be like, right, okay, I need to hit that figure. And maybe your job that you're doing that, like I say, I always recommend fulfillment, but it might not be the best job. You're not particularly enjoying it, but like it's okay. You're probably going to be a lot more motivated to do that job because you like, okay, once I get to that figure, then I can leave it. And you've got to think about that bigger picture when you're working this job. Yes, it's not what you want to do, but it is necessary to get you from A to B, if you see what I mean. So that's my stage 2. Create that plan, work on it every single day, keep on your part-time job, on any side hustles, yes, to work out an exit kind of figure that you need to get to, and then once you achieve that, then yeah, I see you can go on to stage 3, which is go full-time on your business, your side hustle, whatever it may be. You've been working on your business, you've been working on your side hustle for a long time now, you've built up a good amount of money on your part-time job, and yeah, you can go full-time. So congratulations on this. This should not take you too long at all, really. Like I said, to earn that amount of money from a job, a side hustle shouldn't take you long at all. Maybe 6 to 9 months once you've kind of put together a plan as well, because I know that takes time, because it took me a while to kind of figure out exactly what I wanted to do. So that takes time too. It's not all about the money. You got to kind of have plans in place, and obviously, like I've experienced, and maybe something going on in your personal life that kind of stagnates when you kind of start and you progress on your personal journey. And I think that majority of the time where a lot of people go wrong is they don't cut out what I mentioned previously about the normal people shit, like the alcohol, materialistic shit, subscriptions. They want to keep up with their normal friends, and you can't have the best of both worlds. You can't be an entrepreneur and live the normal life. It's just not possible. They see these people, and trust me, I know what it's like. I've seen people around my age, and maybe they've got a partner, they've got a mortgage, and they might be thinking of marriage, and they've got a car, whatever it may be, and they think, oh fuck, like I want that, I want this. And this is when a lot of people will submit, and they'll probably go back to that corporate kind of 9 to 5 job, doing a job they don't really want to do, but it might be 30-40k a year. So they think, well, I'm getting a bit older, I kind of want a family, so I might just go, yeah, I'm just going to get a normal job. It's clearly, business isn't for me, is it? I've been doing this 2 years now, and I'm not making money. It's a bit frustrating, so I'm just going to get a normal job. And this is like, it's so frustrating hearing people do this, because it's something you've worked so hard, and it's your dream, and you're just going to like let your dream die. It's just very sad. And the thing for me, why I'd never do this, is because you never know how close you could have been. You could have been a day off. It might have been one YouTube video. It might have been one more day, one idea that you just had. It just changes the game completely. One deal. It could have been anything. And you were so close, but you saw other people and you wanted to keep up with them. So that's what you did. They lose track on their own vision, and they focus on other people. And at the end of the day, that's what happens. If you're driving a car and you were focusing too much on other people, you'd end up crashing. So they spend too much time deciding on what to actually focus on, instead of just going fully deciding like, this is it, and I'm going to go all out on this, and I'm going to do it till it is success. If I don't quit, then I will succeed. And another thing that is quite important to mention is that, maybe I should have mentioned in stage 2, is a lot of people hop from idea to idea, and that is not a good idea. And I've heard a lot of people personally who do this, and they never actually commit to anything, because they're like, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do Amazon, maybe I should do YouTube, maybe day trading, maybe something like this, but they never actually do any of them at all, because they hop from idea to idea. And you're never going to make any progress if you do something for a month, 2 months, then move on to something else. Just choose one thing and go absolutely all out, and that is all you need to do. And then if you want to go on to something else after, then you can do it. You've built up the money, you focus on one thing, then you've got the freedom, because you don't have to worry about money. So that's very important advice that I want to give you. If your goal is to be financially, location and time free, then I really do not think, and if it takes me any longer than 3 years, then I would not be happy. From the moment that you go full time in business, it shouldn't take that long at all. Making money, you see a lot of people, it doesn't take that long. It shouldn't take that long to earn money. And I think time, location is, you can kind of say, yes, time, you don't have to kind of be there to let your business, your whatever it may be, run. And location, obviously, yes, you can be anywhere in the world, but financial freedom is quite subjective, because it depends what type of lifestyle you want to live completely. So for some people, they've earned $1 million, and that might be completely enough money they ever need. They might want to just go live in Bali or something. They live in Thailand, and that's fine for them. Whereas some people, they might even hit 10 million and they don't feel financially free because they want to live a really like lavish lifestyle. They want the boats, the yachts, the supercars, anything like that. And I believe, I think MJ DeMarco says 10 million is the kind of the new 1 million with inflation and stuff, and which will give you anything you want in life, other than like being stupid. Like I mentioned, there's some people want the supercars, the private jets, the mansions. But for me, I think I'm only estimating, but 3 million for me would give me absolute total financial freedom. I would never have to work another day again. I'm not materialistic. Like I say, you probably can tell, and anyone that knows me knows I'm not into all of that type of stuff. Yes, I did used to be when I was younger, but anymore, that's not me at all. I think I will probably go somewhere, like I mentioned, like Thailand and Bali, and South Africa for me is somewhere that really I feel is like home for me in the next couple of years, and live that kind of digital nomad lifestyle that I've always aspired to be like for a good few years. But then obviously I don't know if I was to have a family and do that settling down lifestyle, I probably wouldn't want to be in one of those places. So maybe I would want to be somewhere a bit more, I don't know exactly. So I would always want to prepare for the future, and because you never know, obviously, like I say, you don't know what the future holds. And I might want to be somewhere like, more secure, and buy like a more family home instead of hopping from one place to the other. And obviously when you have kids, that's a lot more money, and a family, it's going to cost all of this. So you need to prepare for that too before if you do decide like, I'm never going to earn any more money, which I'm sure you probably would anyway. If you've already made a few million, I'm sure it won't be that hard for you to make more money. So that's stage 3, going full time on your business, your online business, your entrepreneur side hustle. And then once you've done this, you've achieved the goal. You've escaped the matrix. You are fully out of it. You're financially, you're timely, you're location free. And you can then go on to rely on stuff such as like investments and having everything systemized and automated. You've hit that exit figure that you wanted to hit. Whether for you, I don't know if it's 10 million, if it's 1 million, 3 million, it might be 500,000. It might be, I don't know what it is for you, and you never have to work, theoretically speaking, another day in your life. This might sound very good to you, but I'm sure, like I said, it won't last long, and doing nothing will end up becoming unfulfilling, and your existence will kind of just feel meaningless. There's a story about a fisherman that I'm sure you've heard, where you sacrificed everything that you had to get to the same position you were before. The story goes something along the lines of an investor comes to visit this fisherman who gets fish every single day. He maybe gets like 2-3 fish a day, catches them, and then it gets to halfway through the day, it gets to 12, and then he'll go home. And then the investor sees him and says, "What you doing? Like, come on, go catch some more fish." And he's like, "Oh, I've got enough. Like, I don't need to get any more." And then he's like, "Oh, what would I do? Why would I do that?" And he'd be like, "Oh, well, you get more money and this and that, and then you could scale it up. You could get a bigger boat, and then we could move you to a different country, and we could get investment, and then you'd have so much more money, and then eventually you could go back and do this. You could go back and spend the rest of the day with your family." And that's a very that story really hit home with me, and realised that a lot of people will just sacrifice everything to get to the same position they were. And like, is it even all worth it a lot of the time? Obviously, I think it's very important to earn a good money, and that can be very fulfilling for a lot of people. But it's something to definitely think about on your personal journey. Is it really worth it? Is what you're sacrificing going to be worth it in the long run? I think it's always a good idea to put like a system in place, such as if you have courses, books that you sell. They are very passive. You really don't have to do a lot to them once you've put the content out, especially with something like a book. You've wrote the book, and then I've never wrote a book myself, but I can imagine like once it's written, there's not too much you actually have to do, and especially once everything's in place and it's out there. And then it's similar with courses too. You get the systems in place, get everything automated, so you don't actually have to really do much with the products or services. And then you can then go on. Once you've got the money, you don't really have to like worry about too much of where your money goes. You can then go and focus on stuff like real estate, crypto, stocks. I've always been very interested in real estate. Is what I did go and study at university, because I wanted to learn how to invest in real estate. And it might be something that a lot of people have probably done too. I think I spoke to a lot of people in my course, and yeah, I'm sure you probably know that investing in real estate is a very safe investment. That's why a lot of people go down that route who know what they're doing. And a lot of people will tell you to invest in like stocks and crypto while you're young, and invest like a certain amount each month, but this doesn't really do anything, and it's not really worth it while you're young. While you're kind of learning to come up, learning about your business, you should definitely invest that in yourself, invest it in your business way more than you invest it in the market to get like a 1% to up to like, well, you're not going to get more than like 5-6% return. So say if you're putting like few £100 in a month, like it's not really worth it to get like a few £100 back in interest or whatever. And I think especially if you wait for a time when everyone else in the market is kind of panicking, because you have those times like during COVID. I wish I really like jumped on the stocks market and invested wisely and kind of knew what I was doing back then, but that was so new to the game. I was just living a normal kind of life. I didn't really know anything about finances then at all. But a general rule of thumb that a lot of successful investors use is always to do the opposite to what all the normal people are doing. So say if like a lot of people are selling in the market, they're selling property, well then you go buy, because obviously the property is going to be cheaper. And the same with like crypto and stocks, it's going to be cheaper when everyone else is buying. That's when you sell, because the price is going to be increased. Supply demand is something that I learned with real estate in uni, and it applies to kind of everything in life, and that's something you should definitely consider. So that's kind of my final stage of how you can escape the matrix. And I hope this guide can help you a lot, and you can achieve financial, location and time freedom, which I'm sure that is your goal, what you want to achieve. And it's offered you a lot of value, hopefully. And I believe it is quite realistic, and absolutely anyone could do this. I don't think it's that hard, and I think a lot of more people are going to do this going forward. I see that as the future. I don't think a lot of people are going to be doing 9-to-5 jobs, especially with AI coming closer and closer to taking over. I don't know a lot about it, and I don't know how far it will go, but I definitely think it will take over a lot of normal jobs. And I definitely think this is the best way to go, to have that financial freedom. You don't have to worry about if something happens in your own town, or you want to travel and you don't have to be somewhere at a certain time. You don't have a boss. You've got the money to be like, kind of like, fuck you, like I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I think that's very important, especially with the way the world's going. So let me know what you guys think. If there's anything that you think I could have mentioned, or you think is a better way to go about things, then I'd be really interested to know, and it'd offer me a lot of insight, because I'm still learning, and obviously I've not fully escaped the matrix yet, but this is a plan that I've pretty much decided to follow, and I think it's a good definitely a good way, and I think if you followed it you would have a lot of success. But let me know what you think, if you would change anything. And like I say, I hope it's offered you a ton of value, and I wish you the best in your journey and escaping the matrix. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.